Hi, I'm Sam, the CEO of Bytes Technology Group, and I'm delighted to be with Nick Hedderman today, who is the Microsoft UK and Ireland channel lead. We have been thriving with Microsoft as a partner, growing over a 40-year period, and I'm so excited about the era that we're entering now around AI. It's reminiscent of the internet era, which, as we all know, was a point in time where pervasive computing started to drive whole new work patterns.
Yeah. Oh, and it's great, firstly, to celebrate such a long and enduring partnership that we have together, Sam. So thank you for acknowledging that. And as we look to the future, we think about helping organizations to become what we call a frontier firm. These are organizations that see the value in blending the human ingenuity with the power of artificial intelligence together.
Yeah.
The definition of a frontier firm is one that not only understands that as a vision, but also can operationalize that into their business. That they have prioritized AI projects, that they're thinking about ways in which they can equip their employees with AI tooling, uh, deploying agents into their workforce. I mean, imagine a scenario where their org chart has a combination of people and agents
Yeah.
on that org chart, and they're seeing real ROI benefits, and they've got long-term plans to increase investment and see further ROI gains as a consequence. So organizations that have got that kind of mindset are ultimately starting to see the benefits.
I entirely agree with you, Nick. We serve customers both in the private sector and public sector and even subsectors within that. So police and fire and rescue, skills, charities, and so on. And we have examples of customers where they've got 98% adoption of Copilot, for example, and they're seeing a 9-to-1 return on that investment. So I'm absolutely convinced that this is now the era that's starting to move in the right direction
Yeah,
for them.
yeah, that's right. And the way we think about it from a customer point of view is really breaking the conversation down into four areas. Firstly, how can you enrich that employee experience? And the example you just gave there with empowering people with a co-pilot and allowing them to improve the way they go around there every single day is a really powerful thought and often a very good starting point for a lot of organizations. Can I automate my meetings, for example? Can I help it, go through my inbox and improve there? Can I start producing way more advanced Excel charts than I ever could have dreamt of before? These are all small things that will help give gains on a regular basis for the employee. And then the next three categories start to become even more interesting for the customer when they're thinking about their own business processes. Could they agentify some of those processes? Maybe they've got a claims process, or they've got an RFP process, or they've got a way of working with particular different departments of bringing them together. And this is where like a singular or a multi-layered agentic solution could be really, really powerful. Then customers, how can you improve your customer experience, your customer engagement? And finally, are there things that you could simply not have done before that you can now do with AI that can really help you to innovate and create competitive advantage? And those four conversations with customers right now are super, super hot and absolutely critical as they think about transforming to becoming a frontier firm.
Yeah, and within our own business, I've been an advocate of Copilot since it launched, and we've talked very openly and publicly about what it has meant for our own staff in terms of some of the drudgery of tasks and how they've managed to save time. We've managed to accelerate and build out content or to get through workloads much, much faster. And I think the interesting thing is we've now, as a business, also moved into creating agents ourselves across the business for different reasons. And I'll call out a couple of internal names that we've given those agents. Scout allows us to review a whole bunch of services in our catalog and to quickly expedite our sellers being able to recognize, which are the right services. Scan, which allows us to take the conversations that we're recording, format them, and have outputs of sellers' initiatives and key drivers they should follow through with. And of course, then on an internal basis, as we build out services, our own SOC, it's about how we automate some of those ticket noise levels, the triage of it, and how we accelerate through. And that has actually allowed us to reduce the amount of analysts we've had to hire into the business because the agents are now really moving forward on some of those tasks. So it's an exciting era, and I'm already seeing profound impact in our own
That's incredible.
business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's nothing more powerful than you going through that process of building those agents and feeling what it feels like and learning from some of the things that could be improved or changed, to then taking those stories to your customers, our collective customers, and saying,
Indeed.
this is our lived experience. Let us
Yeah.
guide you on that process of doing the same thing.
Yeah, and I have a very live one from this week. We've made internal changes, and we curated a a whole bunch of Q&A documents, and we've made an agent that we've called Phoebe. So it's a cross-fertilization of the Bytes and the Phoenix brand
Very
put
nice.
together.
Yeah.
So nice female internal name. And she is now, if you like, the agent that can provide you with the answers around some of those internal Q&As that we've created. So yeah, almost by the week, we're finding purpose and value that we can put back into the business.
Yeah, that's amazing to hear. Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you. So Nick, as you think about this new era, I'd love to talk to you now about the role that technology can play and how you see partners growing in this new era. Why has Microsoft always been a partner-led organization?
Well, we believe that partners are critical to not only our success, but also customer success. We have over 50,000 partners here in UK and across Ireland, and those partners help us to connect with customers of all shapes and sizes and to deliver really incredible, innovative solutions that help those organizations to achieve. And of course, our partnership, Sam, is the most trusted. We have an incredible partnership that has got, as you said earlier, goes back decades, and we continue to develop and to enhance. And the way in which we now go to market across a range of different technologies is really something incredible and something we're very proud to support.
Yeah, and Nick, just in response to that, I think the way that we have evolved, and we used to be very much licensing led, we flipped it into being solution outcome led for the customers. So we are really enjoying this era of going and consulting around what are the business challenges and looking at the design and how we help a customer innovate and implement and support and then drive a managed service off the back of that. So it makes our relationship with the customers much more sticky. And, for that, we're very grateful. And there's incentive pots that, we are thoroughly involved in accessing. You talked about the operationalizing of that, and so that it becomes a much more routine driven part of how we engage with our clients. And that for us is all about this new era of our relationship. Nick, on that point then, so how do businesses build in this new AI era? What would Microsoft's advice be?
Well, it starts with becoming a frontier firm yourself. Yeah, let's call it a frontier partner for
Yes.
a better term, and being the customer zero of these use case technologies, which, Sam, you've already shared many examples of how you're doing that yourself. And so that lived experience really helps and positions you as a trusted advisor into our shared customers, but also taking advantage of all of the different programs that we have to help you thrive as a partner, whether that's building your own capabilities around our cloud solution provider platform, which you do very effectively, whether it's taking advantage of some of the partner programs that we can run with our customers. Maybe these are envisioning workshops or ways in which that they can get their hands on the technology in a different way or think about the technology in a different way, through to the way we show up in the market together through our joint marketing and our joint selling together. And
Yes.
if we can work closely with a customer, identifying what are some of their challenges, their business pain points, and coming up with a solution that not only solves from a technology point of view, but also helps to be implemented and landing as a change project, then that's a really powerful outcome. And that's what we're very good at doing together.
Yeah, and on that, I think the specializations really do signpost customers to partners like ourselves who've invested very intentionally and down into those technology areas around security, AI, workplace, and so on, and then building discrete teams and capability for that purpose. So again, I think that the maturity of how your channel partner program has evolved over the years has driven us to the next level of intimacy with customers to really get them the best outcomes possible.
Yeah. And what I love, Sam, is the way you've built your security operations center on Microsoft's technology, and then taken that to a number of customers. Actually, it's been a very successful service for you. Maybe you could share a bit more about how you got to that decision and some of the things you've learned along the way.
Yeah, we did a full evaluation of technologies that were available to us when we knew that our customer demand around a SOC was starting to reveal itself. And, we can go back 3-4 years when we decisively said, this is a service we want to stand up, we want to build it. And the Microsoft technology at that time was starting to show up as strong, relevant. It sat in the technology stack that most of our customers were already familiar with, and it was being introduced to many, many conversations. So as I say, we did an appraisal, we looked at alternatives, and we came back to this is what we're going to build our service around. And here we are 3-4 years down the line, and we have a volume of contracts, managed services that have really satisfied our customers. We have matured the service into lots of different levels, and we've also automated a lot of it. And I've spoken about how we triage and we've driven processes through agents and automation to drown out the noise levels that we originally were seeing. And we are, very pleased with the way that Microsoft have continued to evolve that technology. It's super important to your roadmap. We know that security is an absolute priority, and these weren't just words. We've seen how Microsoft over the years have kept true to that promise that security was going to be something you completely invested in through the roadmap development, and also how it augmented and was introduced into all the other technology areas.
Yeah, no, it's a really strong service, and I'm sure many more customers will benefit from it over time. What about Copilot? As you talk to your employees and you've equipped them all with that technology,
Yeah.
there are obviously some key metrics you can look at, like the adoption rate, the usage rate, maybe the hours saved, or some of the new capabilities you built with agentic solutions. But what are some of the sort of softer side, the emotional side? What do people say to you when you're walking down the corridor? And
So it varies, Nick. I mean, I personally use it daily, maybe not by the hour, but it's certainly a powerful tool for me to work with. And I think it differs depending on people's jobs and what department they work in. But the way I think about it now, it's like everyone comes to work with a little buddy that they can make help their day fun and remove some of the mundane tasks. So yeah, we've got a real enjoyment factor from having it in the portfolio of tools that people use on their desktop.
so we have this program called the Microsoft Cloud AI Partner Program, which is very rich and has a number of different capabilities within it, from solution designations and specializations, right the way through to partner programs that we can collectively take to our joint customers to really help those customers to accelerate their technology usage and adoption. And I know that you're capable at leveraging those programs, and plenty of great examples, and maybe you can share some of them.
Yeah, no, we use that funding to really take customer to the next level of either envisioning or seeing the art of the possible of technology and what it can do to drive the benefits back into their business, so that their utilization of the features, the functionality, are elevated to the next level. And that comes back to, customers that might have a license, or they might have bought into a technology, but they're not truly using it to its full potential. So that funding drives it to that level.
Yeah.
So Nick, as I think about, the 40 years journey we've been on, I just want to thank, because I think the growth ambition that Microsoft have had, has certainly been part of our ambition, and we've in parallel gone on this journey. But it's not just a Microsoft conversation all the time, is it? And I know you have some thoughts around that.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think you do a very good job of using the Microsoft platform as a starting point with all of your customers. But in certain customer situations, there may be additional third-party technologies that are required to complement that.
Yeah.
You not only have the capability to lead with Microsoft technologies, but also think about the complementary technologies from third parties that you could bring into the conversation.
Yeah, and I think Microsoft, their maturity of embracing that wider ecosystem and involving them in conversations and co-sell motions, again, you are absolutely outstanding at driving that, and our sellers, embrace it. And again, it's part of the reality of the complex world of IT that we're all operating in, right?
And one of the really cool things that will happen more and more now in this new agentic era is some of the technologies you may be building for yourself internally may end up becoming IP that you
for sure
put into our marketplace and we take to customers together. So that ecosystem of some of the third-party solutions that complement Microsoft technologies may over time be coming from you directly, which is really quite a nice thought as we
absolutely. And let's not forget, a lot of this is driving more of the demand around the cloud compute, which is, of course, one of the stable core things that we advise our customers on. So, yeah, you're right. It's feeding, lots of different conversations and outcomes for customers. And, we're certainly on a journey, the next era of AI digital transformation. We've come from if you like, an enterprise agreement privileged background of being one of a handful of partners, but we are now firmly into the era of adding value around CSP and thinking about outcomes for our customers. So those are the key attributes of how we've moved the business forward. Our sellers are very capable now of operationalizing and accessing the funding that Microsoft have put in place around the designations and specializations. And I think that has been an absolute game changer for us, being able to mobilize our customers, bring them to the table to talk about the various outcomes and advantages that they can put into their business, how they can drive innovation. It's the stimulus. It's a stimulus for a conversation for our customers to actually look at the art of the possible. And we've done that in conjunction with Microsoft. As I say, I think we have really driven hard as two partners with a customer centricity. And I like to think about our group and our two brands within it, both Bytes and Phoenix, being utterly customer focused. And Microsoft have moved their programs to be absolutely on point with that. So I'd like to thank you.
And thank you to you and your team, Sam. That what you say is absolutely true. We see that on a daily basis. We together show up to better serve our customers. And that's a really powerful statement. We think about it internally about how do we create value and how do we create capability that's going to help those customers to thrive and to grow and to achieve what they're looking to achieve, whatever mission they're on, whether it's
and whichever sector.
Exactly. There could be a school, it could be a police force, it could be a hospital, it could be a small business, it could be a large business, they could be financial services, they could be in the healthcare industry. You name it. You have the breadth and the depth and the capability to be able to do that at scale. And so that way you describe the way in which your partnership has changed is what I've lived and experienced firsthand.
And if I may, I think one of our USPs as a scale partner for you is we have the capability of licensing knowledge and solutions, depth of technical knowledge. And I know your partner community is normally one or the other. And I think we have very much built and augmented those two capabilities into one powerful conversation that we can have with our customers.
I mean, that is ultimately the vision of when we created the CSP or the Cloud Solution Provider platform is essentially what you describe. It's the ability for you to own the customer relationship and the transaction, but then wrap around that all of the unique value and capability that you have in your people, your services, whether that's professional services or managed services, and then be able to take that to the market. And so you are defining exactly the strategy that we created when we were thinking about our partner ecosystem.
It's great to hear.
But then on top of that, not only are you living and breathing that as the operational platform, you also have the vision of becoming a frontier organization yourself.
Yeah, with our own views.
With your own people and your own processes and your own way of serving as customers in a way that is truly inspirational.
The transactional world that we used to operate in was very clearly a start and an end point. And now we're on a journey with customers. We look to support them. We look to evolve them. We look to enhance their experience as they go forward and as your roadmap continues to develop. And that conversation becomes cyclical in terms of we can revisit it. We can talk about the next level of functionality that is available. And Copilot is just one example of that, how we keep returning the conversation back to customers. So for our sellers, this is a wonderful era.
And it's true because the pace of innovation and the pace of change has never been quicker.
Yeah.
And so this idea of being always on with a customer, taking them on the journey, helping them, holding their hand, taking them on the step-by-step process to whatever comes next. And that new thing may be just weeks after your last conversation and based on some of the new things that we're working on together, is so critical. And I love the fact you've taken that wholesale change the way you approach the customer. It's incredible, just from, like you say, once in a moment time to an always on cyclical approach.
Thank you, Nick. And I think, look, our relationship and partnership is very strategic and very important, but it also is a segue for us to have lots of other conversations around technology. And for that, we're very grateful because we see it almost as the launch platform to then introduce other conversations. So I know Microsoft are very supportive of that, and our journey hopefully for the next 40 years will continue to grow in parallel with your growth ambitions. So Nick, I've really enjoyed this conversation, reflecting on the journey that we've been on so far over 40 years with Microsoft as a partner. and I look forward to the future and potentially the next 40 years as well.
Sounds good.
Thank you.